Our special guest this evening is Candy Havens, and I'm so excited because I haven't seen this beautiful face in forever. So I'm sorry that you guys are just going to have to watch 30 minutes of the two of us catching up because that's what is about to happen. So, hi, Candy. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thanks. I'm excited. I miss you guys so much. Is everybody walking away and going to the bathroom? Where'd everybody go?
I know, right? Yep. They might be, but you know what? The good thing is they're probably taking their laptops with them
There
to the
you go.
bathroom.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
all right. Take me to the bathroom. It's all right.
Absolutely. Well, it's so good to see you. You have been on a whirlwind this year. You spent most of the year in Utah. How was your travels?
Oh my gosh, I loved it there. If I could have two homes, I would have one there. It was crazy to walk out and see mountains. I'm based in Fort Worth, Texas, as most of you know, and there's not a lot to see. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of scenery, right?
Yeah,
So the house I was staying is a friend's house, and I could walk out in the backyard and there were mountains and nature, and I could walk out in the front yard and there were mountains and nature. It was just awesome. I loved it,
mm-hmm.
and so it was a very healing experience for me being there. I was all on my own for the first time in my life,
Oh,
and
wow. Yeah.
yeah, I've never lived alone. I'm still married, guys, and very happily so. But I had to go see a doctor there, and so it was just like a really. I had this really cool doctor who helped me out and got me in remission for lupus, and just
That's
like it was
awesome.
just like the most amazing thing. And then when we came home through the Grand Canyon, and you need to see stuff like that to make you remember that the world isn't so small, that it's a big place and we
Hmm.
need to explore, you know?
Yes. There's something so, my husband Cliff and I have talked about that so many times driving through the last year, having driven through the Midwest, or not the Midwest, through the Great West and up to the Pacific Northwest, and how magical the country of America is and how beautiful and inspiring. And it's like, as frustrated and as polarizing as we can feel with people, like the moment that you see how beautiful our country is, it's like it's worth bringing everybody together to really experience that.
I absolutely agree. I'm going to come up your way and go all the way down. I'm determined
Yes.
to do that this next year. I'm so scared of COVID.
I
So,
don't blame you, but when you're ready to, I'll help you plan it because,
all right. Yeah.
yeah, it'll be a fun trip. We'll make it around. We'll block it away from fire season. That's very
There you go.
important.
Yeah. Because I really want to see the redwoods before they burn down. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I always say. I'm like, if I'm going to watch the world burn, at least it's beautiful. At least it's a beautiful view. All right, Candy. So let's talk about you as a writer. You've been doing this for as long as I've known you, forever. So, what made you make the switch from romance to cozy? I know we've talked about that before, but this really seems to be such a great place for your voice. And I just want to see, a few years on, like how that experience has been for you.
I absolutely love it. It's this world I created for Ainsley and this gang. Okay. So basically, what happened is I created a town and characters that are my friends, so I could
Hmm.
just hang out with them every day, right? So
Right.
that's what happened. So if it feels very real life in a way, that's probably why. And then I my dad pointed this out to me just recently, really. When I was in Utah, he and I were talking on the phone, and because you got to call your parents to make sure they're still alive these days,
Yeah,
quite
that's
often.
true.
And so we talked a lot while I was gone, probably more than I do when we were home, and we're 6 miles away. But we were
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
yeah, he was talking about almost all of my, like the first 10 books I wrote, all of them had some kind of mystery in it. He's like, it was a natural progression for, I'm like, I don't even
Mm.
understand how I ended up here. You know what I mean? Like, I love it, but I don't know how I ended up here. And then I will continue to write cozies, and I'm continuing to write romance and YA, and everything they tell you not to do, I'm doing. I've made the switch. It's very scary. I quit all my full-time jobs except for radio, and I'm writing
Awesome.
full-time. So it was a medical decision It was
Mhm.
forced upon me to quit because I just couldn't deal with stress
Because your body
anymore.
couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, and my body, I have to have a job where I can take 4-hour naps sometimes, and so it's hard to find a job like that will, you can sustain yourself. But writing's one of them. Then I can write all night if I need to. And so yeah, it's scary because I'm going into new territory. This is the first time I haven't had a safety net of a job kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you're going to hear my dog in the background shaking and barking and farting. And
I was like, which one do we have? Is it Maisie or
I have
is
all
it
three in here with me right
all
now.
three of them are in there. Okay.
Maisie's in front of my desk. Elvis is right here by my side, and Gizmo's on the other side. Yeah. So they're my office mates. But yeah. So with the cozy world, what I like about it is it's sweet. I kind of transitioned into sweet a couple years ago. I just needed nicer people, nicer worlds, nicer everything,
Yeah.
and escape. And for me, these are real escape. That was a very long answer. Sorry.
No, I like a long answer. That's a great answer, because I love that the greatest thing about being a writer is that you get to make up your own friends and and then like tell them what to do.
I love it. Well, a lot of times the characters tell me like every single mystery, and this is why people have a hard time guessing who done it in my books, is because I think I know until the very end. And then about 20 pages from the end, it's like, oh no, it makes more sense if it's that person. And then I have to go back and fix everything up to that point. But it happened to me all 5 books, every book. I thought
every time
in my head, because every time. So the reason you don't know who the killer is probably because I didn't.
You didn't know.
Yeah. Until I put in red herrings throughout, so people wouldn't be totally surprised, because that's really annoying when somebody just like, it's Joe from the farmer's market that we've never met. That just annoys me. So I make sure I go back and layer that in very subtly, so people. So I think if you've read them, or if you've even looked at one, that it was like probably pretty harder than most cozies to figure out who did it.
Yeah. So it was interesting. You mentioned, so Candy and I, secret side note, everybody, we have a special Slack group that we talk to almost every day. And Candy brought up a thing, I think it was maybe yesterday, that you watch Scooby-Doo every day. Or at least a couple, not every day. I'm sorry. Let me not.
At least once a week.
At least once a week. And I thought that was such a cool thing about you, because the fact that you write cozies and that Scooby-Doo has been such a part of your life, I'm sure, since you were a little kid. And so now you get to like do your own Scooby-Doo in a way.
Yeah, and I've created, so throughout Ainsley, I don't want to give too much away because I know a lot of people haven't read the books, but as she goes along, she adds more people to her little crew, right? And so her boyfriend gets on in some things, and all of her friends become involved, and it's really fun. And I loved putting all those people together. It was very deliberate, and that so many people became friends. And like I said, a lot of these characters are amalgamations of people I know in my life, and most of them can pick them. You're in there. Most of them can pick themselves out in the books. So that's and they all love it. They love it. So I haven't been sued yet, hopefully. Yeah. But yeah, so Scooby-Doo was a really early influence for me. And again, didn't realize it, but it's a very, it's probably one of the first cartoons, that and the Jetsons, I remembered seeing. And I've noticed, so I'm doing all this self-awareness, not self-awareness, what do you say? Like spiritual journey, what makes me happy, what makes me calm, what keeps me in a good headspace, which we've all had to explore the last 2 years. And so, I've gotten into meditation and all that, which you should ask me about in a minute because it's hilarious. Scooby-Doo is one of those things when I can't sleep at night, I can put that on, watch a cartoon, and just pass out. Pass out, because it takes me back to my childhood,
Feeling safe and feeling like, again, having friends. I'm sure
having those friends. Yeah.
That's how I feel about Sailor Moon so much. That's the one that I can watch.
Sailor Moon. That was a little after my time, but I know all about it because I have kids.
Yeah. All right. So now I have to ask you about your meditation process, Candy.
Okay. So here's the thing with Candy's monkey brain. It's really hard for me to sit still and be in a space. And it's funny because I can write a book in 2 weeks and I have to concentrate really hard to do that, right? But to get into that headspace these days with everything that's coming at you, it's really hard. And so I discovered my doctor that I was working with in Utah was a naturopath. And so he's like all about, feeling good and treating the whole body. And he's an awesome dude. And I love him. He pretty much saved my life. So I owe him a lot. But
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I cannot. I have been trying. I've been counting the beads. I cannot meditate. And he's like, try the Calm app and listen to those nighttime bedtime stories. Oh my God, monkey brain solved, right? I mean, like I watch Scooby-Doo, I turn on, what's his name? Eric Brava, is that his name? That deep voice he has. I want to play it for you because it's like, oh my God, like the sexiest, deepest voice. And he's taking you on some train journey. And the next thing I know, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, He puts
better than melatonin.
Yeah. So I love it. And so guided meditation, I do one during the day. I do one in the morning when I'm in the tub, believe it or not, I don't drown. And then I do a guided meditation right after lunch and then one before I go to bed. And so it has been life-changing for me as far as being in a good headspace.
I love that so much. The Calm app was definitely has been a lifesaver for me multiple times like that.
Really good. Yeah. I've tried like Headspace and some of those other ones, but
yeah, Calm works the best for me.
Yeah. And the stories, especially in the guided meditations, work best. Yeah. And it's not woo-woo-y, like it's.
Yeah, that's what I like about it too. It's almost taps into the productivity sort of side. It's like how to get into the practice of doing it and then how to like do it so it works for yourself.
Right. Exactly.
That's awesome. I thought you were going to tell us how you like fell out of your chair one time.
Okay, well, I forgot that was part of the story. So Elvis was my little Shih Tzu, right? And so I'm sitting on the floor, and for the first time in my life, I fell asleep sitting up, right? And I thought I was on the toilet, and so I fell asleep, right? And do you ever have bathroom dreams? Like you gotta find a bathroom. Maybe it's an old people thing. I don't know.
No, for sure.
So I was having one of those dreams, and I'm just gonna say I woke up just in time, but then I had to get off the floor, right? Because I was sitting on the floor. So I'm like trying to crawl up, and I'd been sitting there a long time because I fell asleep for an hour. And I've never been able to fall asleep sitting up. And the one time I do it, then I had to pee really bad, and I couldn't get off the floor, and I was laughing. Anyway, it turned out okay. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, that was one of my first meditation experiences.
Oh man. Well, I would like to say that the meditation worked. It really got you into a good Zen place.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is so funny. All right. Well, Candy, another thing that's really awesome about you is that you play multiple hats. You mentioned that you are a full-time writer, but you also are a contributor to radio and television. I'd love to talk a little bit about what movies and TV shows you've been enjoying recently that we should get excited about.
We've got the new season coming up, right? And so there's 2 shows that everybody should watch because I love them. So let's be honest, I probably watch more BritBox and Masterpiece and I'm not a snob, and more Acorn TV just because they Acorn TV. It's late for Candy. She gets more southern the later it gets. Because I love murder mysteries, right? I'm not kidding. I've watched everything with subtitles. I've watched them all, like every single mystery on those channels. But we have some new ones coming up. And one of them is Only Murders in the Building, which is already out. I think it came out today. Right?
The first,
on Hulu. It's Steve Martin Short, and Selena, yeah. And she is so good with them. And it's funny, and I love them together, and I cannot get enough of that show. Like, I just love it. What did they say?
Oh, they said they love the same shows.
Yeah.
I was going to say, this is the audience for you to give us all the BritBox, Acorn, recommendations.
Yeah,
That
I
is
feel like
this
I'm with
group.
my people.
You
Yeah.
are with your people. Yeah.
And like there's a lot of French mysteries and stuff that I just love. There's Candace something is a French mystery, and if you've never watched something with subtitles, the French ones are easier to get into than say German or Swedish. Although I watch them all now, but that those the French detective series were my gateway drug, and there's a lot of strong, very strong female leads in that. Astrid, you guys watch Astrid. So it's a strong female. I get so excited. I'm sorry.
I know. No, it's great. I love the passion.
So Astrid is a strong female cop, right? And she works with a young woman who works in the files department, basically filing all these cases. But she has, I believe it's like Asperger's or some form of autism. She's on the spectrum, and so she doesn't like people and doesn't like whatever, but she helps her solve these cases. And it's just so good. And that relationship between them is so good. So watch Astrid. I think that's on Masterpiece. It might be on BritBox. I get them all confused because I watch them all the time. So
I love that they're all kind of the same anyway.
Yeah. And then I like Nine Perfect Strangers quite a lot. Like I just, I haven't seen the very end yet. I watched the 6 They Sent Us, and then waiting to catch up with everyone else. And so I really enjoyed that one way more. I don't normally like stuff like that, but it also has a mystery element as well. Somebody's trying to kill her. And then my favorite one that's coming up, I think it's on the 6th on AMC Plus, is Kin, which is not a murder mystery, although there's a mystery surrounding what's going on. And basically it's an Irish gang, family of drug dealers, and the trouble they get into, which normally again isn't my sort of thing, except for I liked the London gang one, Gangs of London, and I really like Kin, and it's Irish people talking Irish stuff and hot Irish guys, and what's not to love?
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that description, because it's like I'm usually not into those sort of genre that does one bad thing and then all of the repercussions of like whatever badness they do. But then there's this one that I love, like Sons of Anarchy and Animal Kingdom, that I'm always surprised by.
The Sons, I like Animal Kingdom. I'm very behind on that one, but the Sons of Anarchy was a little too raw for me, like a little bit too much rape, a little bit too much, you know what I mean? Like, I like my gangsters just murdering one another. I don't like it when they hurt women. I like Peaky Blinders, and stuff like that, but that was back in the day, so that's a little different. But I like me some hot gangsters with accents, I guess I could say.
Absolutely. So I'm curious for you, Candy, what do you think, because you've got such a good understanding of like genre, both for film or for TV as well as books, what do you think makes a perfect cozy?
I think having a good character village, that's what I call it. So, quirky characters, I prefer the cozies that are a little bit sweeter. There are some that are, like set in New York, but I like the small town cozies. I think the perfect cozy is basically a story where the whole town is sort of involved. You know what I mean? Or a group of people are sort of involved, and it's people you genuinely care about. And then your heroine with these cannot have any experience, right? Of like, she just is able to do this crazy thing, and she makes a lot of mistakes. And I think that makes a good cozy. But I think it's the village of characters that help cozies help people, feel like they want to live in that town, even though, it's like Cabot Cove. Why are there so many murders in this small town? But it's fun, everybody's kind to one another. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's so true. I love it so much. So, Candy, what have you been reading recently that you would like to recommend to the group?
Well, everybody was writing down their thing. So I have 20 days to finish a book right now, and I'm very behind. Okay. But I've been doing research for another project that's coming out really quick. So I wrote down some of the titles. One I cannot find. It's over there in the bin. I know it is, that I brought home from Utah, but it's really fascinating. You guys should check it out. It's a book about diaries, like famous people's diaries.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I
cool.
wish I will try to find the name when we finish the interview for you guys, and I'll type it in. But it's a huge book, but it's just a little tad about everybody from Anne Frank to people you didn't know. And I got it because I was trying to find people. I'm working on a special project that I'm researching that's coming up early next year. And it's set in the late 1800s, and I didn't know much about that time. And turned out there's a lot of famous people from that time, right? And so I was going through and looking at these diaries and where they were at certain times, and so that helped me a lot with the research. And then some of the other books I'm reading, this may give you a hint on my current project, are CIA manuals for psychological operations, FBI handbook for crime scene forensics. So that'll give you a little hint. Like I probably, my husband was like, why do you, he took me up to Utah, right? He drove me up so I would have my car. And he's like, what, you know, when he came to pick me up so we could drive through the Grand Canyon, he's like, you have like 4 more giant bins of books. Where did we have these before? Why isn't everything fitting back in the car? I had to leave a brand new stool I bought, like a really cute flowery stool, because we couldn't get into the car. I bought so many books while I was like, there doing research. So yeah, I've been doing a lot. It's fascinating, like interviewing techniques. I have a whole book about that. And I was like, man, where was this when I started out in the, interviewing celebrities 30 years ago? I know, I was like, send me that. I need to know the name of that book. It's really fascinating, and knowing when people are lying and things like that. Like, I really love that. I can very easily fall down the research rabbit hole. Yeah, that is like, I just imagine that's like the hardest part whenever doing any book, writing any book that has any sort of level of research, like pulling oneself out of it has to be the most challenging part. Yeah. And then I'm saving as soon as I finish this current project and turn it into 20 days, it's a thriller. It's my first thriller. Never written a thriller before. I'm excited. And so as soon as I finish that, I'm reading Terry Wilson's Once Upon a Summer. I love her. I love her books. Oh, Once Upon a Royal Summer. And I love her. I love her books. And she and I like a lot Kate Spade and Queen stuff. And, we're Anglophiles. And so, yeah, so we like a lot of the same stuff. And she just makes me laugh out loud, her books. If you haven't read her, read something. She wins a lot of awards because her books are funny, easy to read, funny, and just, you love the characters. Yeah, her characters, just like so cute characters. Just great character work. Quite a few of hers have been made into Hallmark movies, and there's a reason for that. Well, and speaking of adaptations, I guess this isn't really an adaptation, but you have another area that you've written in, which is the Kiss app. Like, how was that experience for you? Can you tell us a little bit about that? Yeah, I can tell you a little bit. So it started out as a ghostwriting project. And so I wasn't supposed to like really talk about it or anything, but then right before they released the book, they were like, we want to put your name on it. I was like, okay. I was very proud of it. I mean, it's called The Billionaire's Surrogate or something like that. I forgot the title. I'm a terrible person. So I wrote this book thinking no one would ever know it was me who wrote it, right? No one would ever know. And then they decided, and when it came out, I had my name on it. And then they found out for legal reasons they couldn't do that. So they used this name I sent them as a pseudonym, which is Jessica Sane, S-E-I-N-E, which I think is a publicist name that we know. But I was desperate, very tired that night, and I had to send it right away. And so I literally went through my email and found her name. I was like, well, that's cool. I'm just going to use that. Not thinking that, then it would get 65,000 reads in a month on Kiss, like I was shocked. It's their #1 original title right now. And so it's very exciting, and it was a sexy, fun book. I hadn't written one of those in a while. And so, yeah, so I think I'm going to use that name for any sexy stuff I do in the future. That's cool. I love that. It's a fun name too, until Jessica discovers it. And then she's like, Candy. Right. The great thing is about that is, I don't know, I feel like with the gaming app, they don't want a lot of description and stuff, which is great for me because I don't do a lot of description. It's a lot of dialogue and that sort of thing, because then they adapt it to a game most of the time, right? The books get adapted. Right. And so I don't know, I just really love doing that. So this thriller that I'm working on. I don't know if it's my name or somebody else's, but it's for them as well. And that they gave me they came up with a very short premise, and then I ran with it. And so it's been so exciting. I'm very behind on it, but it's been so exciting because I just want it to be perfect.
That's cool. That's awesome. So are you going to keep doing more with them?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like we're going to. So hopefully I'll get to write all the seasons of this book. I don't know if that's because it's it ends with I'm telling you right now, crazy cliffhanger. Crazy.
A big old cliffhanger
like this. Yeah.
That's so funny. You're killing us, Candy, with your cliffhangers. It's not cool.
Right?
And then you also have in Christmas time, you and Crystal, your daughter-in-law, co-wrote a Christmas book, and I'd love to hear a little bit about that too.
I need to pull it up because I keep saying the wrong name, but I think it.
Oh my gosh, I know. Let me see if I've got it in front of me.
Do you have it in your text? Because I don't remember.
I'm looking.
It's a Santa Fe Christmas. Is that right?
Yes.
Hold on. Is it in text or did I email it? Oh, you guys, this is so embarrassing. Here's the thing. They changed the name right up into the very end. I think it's a Santa Fe Christmas. Yeah, it's a Santa Fe Christmas. I'm pretty sure. We chose a name and we talk about it at the very beginning of the book, the reason why we chose a pseudonym for that, which is Cecilia Guzman. And so Cecilia is kind of her letters and my letters of our names put together. It's the fun thing we did. But Guzman is in honor of her adopted mom, her birth mom. And then the story is very much centered around stories she told me from her adopted family who took her in at a very rough time and gave her a very good life. And so there's recipes in there, and and I didn't want people to say, oh, white girl, trying to help the Mexican girl do her thing, so or Crystal says Hispanic, that we're supposed to say Hispanic because she's born and bred Texan. So she really helped bring that voice alive, and it's her book. I just helped with a lot of the writing, and the stories are all her. And the publisher Thule really worked with us on creating a very fun book. So it's set in Santa Fe. It has all the Santa Fe traditions. It has a great, loving family, a very hot hero. A very determined young woman who is running the family business, which is a tortilla factory, tortillas and tamales. Yeah. And so we took a lot of her Christmas traditions and mine and put them together along with a lot of the Santa Fe stuff. So it's sweet romance and very, very fun.
Oh, I love it so much. And I bet it was so fun for you when you got to drive up to Utah to go through Santa Fe and see.
Oh my gosh. Except for not getting to go to Georgia O'Keeffe. What a trip. That was amazing. Yeah. I didn't know you had to sign up 5 months in advance to go to the Georgia O'Keeffe, which my whole reason for going through Santa Fe, it was an hour and a half out of the way. But I love the town. And then I was like, oh, well, we have to change this. Oh no, well, we're going to have to change this. I had been there, but I must have been a kid because my memory was not great about that. So then, we made it a lot more. I was close, but not, right on the money. So now it's right on the money. I'm very excited. And like I said, I did incorporate some of their traditions as well. So they have a big walk and it's all candlelit. And we put all that stuff in there.
That's so cool. Yeah. Santa Fe Christmas sounds so good. I can't wait for it to be out. Me too. All right. Well, Candy, before I turn our questions over to our readers, how can readers find out more about you and stay in touch with you?
I'm very accessible. I am on all social media. Well, not all. I don't do TikTok because I just don't. But I'm on Instagram, Candace_Havens. On Twitter, Candace Havens. CandaceHavens.com is probably the easiest way to find all those things. I have my own author page on Facebook. Gosh, did I miss it? I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me just about anywhere. I just refuse to do TikTok because I don't like, it's just too much trouble to make videos. Like, yeah, I barely can do post on loops. So yeah, but
I love it.
I don't want to have to put makeup on and look nice. And yeah, so.
That's why we're writers. That's why we stay home.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I don't want to perform that way. I can dance really good, but I don't want to do it in front of people anymore.
Nah, not for us. All right. Well, Candy, thank you so much for your time and answering all of my questions and taking questions from our readers in our interview post this conversation.
Thank you. I had fun.